Welcome back to another edition of Midweek Motives. This week we're going to continue our topic of our mindset around relationships, and today we're going to hit our motive behind why we have those mindsets. So I hit on three important ones: our romantic relationships, our work relationships, and then your basic friendships, like your companionships, essentially. With these things, a lot of us have different, very default mindset towards them because of the way we grew up and because we were never really taught to evaluate our relationships or comprehend our emotions around different traumas, breakups, losing friends, and other things of the sort. So with this, I'm gonna hit all three of them. Basically, let's start with romantic. Our romantic relationships, a lot of that falls into a default and a fixed mindset. The default mindset a lot of us have based on our parents. So I want to ask you, are you dating someone that reminds you of the opposite sex parent? That's something that science has proven that a lot of people actually fall for people who have similar characteristics as their opposite sex parent. Now, for those of us who didn't grow up with both parents in the house, uh, do you model your the dating after the parent that you had, or was it something about that parent that you didn't like, so you go in the opposite direction? Also, with that, have you been overcompensating for the lack of love you received as a child, or do you feel that because you did receive so much love as a child that your partners aren't able to give you the attention and affection that you need? So those are some big ones with the romantic relationship, starting with your default mindset. Now, once we get into the fixed mindset, this is one that you created yourself. A lot of this mindset comes back from our own personal relationships, our personal romantic relationships that have ended. So when it comes to that, like, are you jaded because of X, your first love, how it ended? Did someone do you wrong? And have you been in a pattern of dating the same type of people or people with the same similar characteristics? And then on the contrary, have you got into relationships and felt like your needs were met, or feel like you were being suffocated and that they needed too much of your time? That is something that I become guilty with, and I had to learn that my thing is during that honeymoon phase, I give a lot more of myself than I do throughout the relationship. I have a lot of goals outside of it. One is this podcast that I'm working on right now, and then I have books that I want to write and things like that. So in the early stages of the relationship, for me, I've gotten into the point where I'll put my goals and my daily work things to the side for a little bit, but it never lasts long, and that has always created turmoil to where it's like, oh, well, you're always busy now. Well, I was always busy in my mind, but in their eyes, I gave them a lot more time than I was willing to give before. So nights from laying and binge watching Netflix, go from me laying there for one, maybe two episodes, then I'm getting up and pulling out my laptop or notebook and writing, throwing my headphones on to research something. Those are just some of the things that I personally have been through with relationships. And then another side of that, my thing was learning the different, like, I think love languages are a little bit bullshit. I think I think they hold a base, but I don't think they define the way we love. I think it gives you a good overview, but based on the person, you're going to get a very different type of that specific category if that's something that you choose to use. And yes, I have read the book, The Five Love Languages, and I do recommend it. I think it's a great way to learn the different styles of love that scientists have grouped things into. And then it also allows you to determine which ones you resonate with the most, and then also the type of love that you like to receive. And with this, if you've never done that, you can go online. They have free quizzes that you can take to find your love language, and then have thousands of articles and interpretations of it that you can go find. So if that's something that you feel could help you grow, take that step and go do that. The last one I'm going to hit is our work relationships. When it comes to like coworkers, your managers, so and so forth. With this, are you giving too much of yourself to work? Are you always available? One of the big things like I've seen now, especially like in the last year or so, which they're calling the Great Resignation, is a lot of us as employees are taking our time back. One of my big things that is one of my most major annoyances, I'm actually currently dealing with it right now, is managers texting and calling you when you're not at work. If you're not paying me, stop calling and texting me. This is something that I just recently switched my mindset on. Beforehand, I was always available. If I wasn't like busy, I would drop whatever I was doing or figure out a way to get into work and help other people out. But the lesson I learned through doing that is, on the contrary, these jobs really don't care about your well-being or mental health or even your physical health. As long as you can come help them make their bottom end and produce profits, they're fine. I can say this because, like, as most people who actually know me from here, I know I'm a very happy-go-lucky person, usually very positive and energetic. And I got to a point where I was very argumentative and combative at work, and nothing ever happened because I was still able to produce. One or two of my managers said something to me, but only my manager who left and came back, shout out to him, sat me down and had the conversation. It was like, hey, I noticed things are different with you. I noticed you haven't been working out, because he follows me on social media. He's like, you haven't been posting and whatnot. Are things going on well? And once I had that conversation, I realized that I was giving too much of myself away at work. And I want you to take that time to reflect. Are you giving yourself too much away to work? Is that affecting how you interact within all of your other relationships? Because I know one thing with me is, like, my family loves getting together for holidays. And me working in the service industry, I automatically miss most of them anyway. But then it's those times where it's like, you should be able to take off, or you should be able, like, they don't technically need you. It's just kind of like you're an extra body. And those things where I realize, like, they will take as much, a lot of these places will take more away from you personally than they're willing to give back to you. So with that, I want you to take a little bit and reflect on how you interact with your relationships and why you have them, what mindset you have, and do you feel like you are nourishing your relationships, or is the lifestyle that you're living detrimental to your relationships? This could be positive to some things, negative to other. I know I had to switch my work-life balance because my passions are in my writing and my speaking and my creative sides. So without that, I start to fall apart, and I get this feeling of like I'm not doing enough, and I'll try to overcompensate it by working and making money. And in the end, I've learned that no matter how much I've made, it doesn't make me feel better when I'm not doing what I'm doing. After making a video like this, I feel super good, I'm happy, I'm energetic, and I'm actually usually jumping in to the next topic or starting to prep for the next video. So that helped me point out the things that I am willing to and no longer willing to give, and those boundaries that I feel like need to be set, which is something else I haven't hit yet. Are your boundaries too flexible? Do you have boundaries, or are your boundaries too stiff? Are you one of those people who like dealt with a certain type of people every time you dated, every time you've been at work, or if you had a bunch of shitty friends or bad friends? I wouldn't necessarily say shitty. I don't say that. I don't think that anybody is inherently bad. I think most people make bad decisions in the guise of good. As the old quote saying, the road to hell is paved in good intentions. I truly believe that, because I, as a person, have done things that have caused more harm than good, but at the time I was trying to do something good. And then acknowledging your shortcomings. Are you acknowledging where you've not met the peak, met your standards for what you want to be? This is something that I've learned with me in relationships. I've always been taught to be a leader and a provider. And sometimes that has made me very emotionally distant. Like, hey, I'm there for you to pick you up from school, class, work. I'm there when you need help, blah, 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 blah. I don't need to be around you all the time. I'm a very independent person. That's something I've learned, that especially over the last 2 years, is that me living with a partner may not be the best idea. It may be better for me to have my space so I can keep my individuality. which is another thing. Or if you someone who loses your individuality in relationships, or is there a level of freedom that you need in order to be the person that they fell for? So these are a lot. I know I just hit you with a lot, but these things are very crucial in developing, maintaining, and building our relationships. A lot of us never look back or reflect on the relationships that have ended, whether it be your girlfriend, boyfriend, work, or any other aspect of a friendship. Like friendships are another one that we lose and we kind of fall out of without ever really acknowledging them. And I'm the type of person who is like, if we were friends at one point, I still got love for you. I still want you to eat, just not at my table. And then another one too is, are you dragging people along? Are you hoping other people get to the levels that you are? Are you trying to make people reach these levels and pinnacles that you've hit and are aiming for in order to create the life that you want? And if you're doing that, are you sure that's the most positive way for the people that you are trying to pull along? Or have you learned to love people in the position that they are and accept them for who they are? At the end of the day, love is freeing yet all encompassing. And I think that's one of the biggest issues with our relationship, is because most of us feel like love is possessive. So take some time to think about that throughout these next few days and kind of the rest of this month, especially with it being Valentine's Day. You have a lot of the romantic stuff going on, and then you got those bitter people who are, oh, I hate Valentine's Day, oh, blah, 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 whatever it is, being negative Nancy's about a day that's about love. And then also with that too, I'm going to say is, don't make your Valentine's Day about the gifts. Make it about spending time with the people you love and being able to enjoy their company and presence, especially in these tumultuous times. I feel like love is one of the biggest things we're lacking. And I think that's also one of the reasons why we've allowed this pandemic to separate us as much as it has. So I want to send you all peace, love, and light. Like the video, comment, give me some, go to my YouTube channel. This will be up in about 5 minutes. And subscribe. Let me know what you think. Let me know any questions, concerns, whatever it may be that's on your mind. Hit me back with it, and I'll be back soon with another video. You guys all have a great night.